most reliable source for any technical information regarding kidney donations is not me. In this video, I'm only going to explain a little bit about the significance of your blood group when donating a kidney, and I'll also address some of the risks that you need to consider before you donate. Dealing with the bad news first could save a lot of time for people who are thinking only of the best possible scenario. In my opinion, that's not a good way to make a wise decision. So we'll start with blood groups. There are 4 main blood groups: O, A, B, and AB. Some will say that there are 8 because each of those types can be either positive or negative. But when you donate a kidney, the positive or negative rhesus factor, as it's called, makes no difference. So I'm only going to discuss these as 4 groups. Type O and Type A are by far the most common groups, while B and AB are much less common. Type O is often called the universal donor because whether it's donating blood or donating an organ, in addition to other Type Os, Types A, B, and AB can all accept a donation from someone who is Type O. Type A can donate to A and AB. Type B can donate either to Bs or to ABs, whereas Type AB can only donate to another Type AB. As you can see from the diagram on the screen, Type AB is called the universal recipient because Types O, A, and B, as well as another AB, can all donate to someone who is Type AB. Unfortunately, while Type Os can give to anyone, they can only accept from other Type Os. And while anyone can donate to a Type AB, Type ABs cannot donate to anyone except another Type AB. These days there's a process whereby blood types can be overruled altogether, called plasmapheresis or something like that. But the medical profession still prefers to have matching blood types to get the best results from organ transplants. Now, a special problem results when a Type O donates to anyone apart from another Type O. I'm going to try to explain that now because it relates heavily to the idea of choosing a recipient for your kidney if you should decide to donate. As you can see from the bar graph, roughly 45% of the public is Type O. It more or less means that 45% of the people needing a kidney will be Type O, and roughly 45% of the people offering to donate a kidney will be Type O. At the same time, while Type ABs can only donate to other Type ABs, only about 5% of the people needing transplants are Type ABs. So the chances of a Type AB getting a kidney from another Type AB is exactly equal to the chances of a Type O getting a kidney from another Type O. The ratio of supply and demand is the same for both. But there are many instances of someone who's Type A, B, or even AB having a friend or relative who wants to help them. And it turns out that the friend or relative is a Type O. Well, for them, that's not a problem. They are compatible, and so the operation goes ahead. But when this happens, it means that the percentage of Type O donors is now lower than the percentage of Type O people who are likely to need a kidney. And so most of the requests that I get for assistance are on behalf of people who have Type O blood. The greatest need for donors is amongst O's and A's. Because of that, if I knew someone who wanted to donate a kidney and I knew that they were Type O, I would not encourage them to donate to anyone else except another Type O. This is also true of Type A's who want to donate either to Type A's or to Type ABs. They should really only donate to Type A's, and Type B's should only donate to Type B's. If you're from the Type O blood group and you want to help someone who is not Type O, there is a way to work around the problem without upsetting the balance. More and more hospitals are utilizing this procedure. It's called paired donations, although the pairs can also be triple or even quadruple transplants all happening at the same time. One friend of mine had an AB blood type. And when he approached Johns Hopkins University Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, quite a few years ago, I think he became the first person to participate in such a sequence of operations. And here's how it worked. A patient with type AB blood had a relative with type B blood who was prepared to donate to him. But the hospital explained the situation to the family, that is, the situation which I have just explained. And they said that my friend would donate instead if the relative would be prepared to donate to someone else who was type B. The family agreed, and then the hospital's transplant coordinators went to the type B patient who had a friend with type O blood, whom they talked into giving to a type O patient who had at that point been struggling to find someone with that particular blood type who was willing to donate to him. In the end, 6 operations were carried out almost simultaneously. One of them involved my friend giving to a virtual stranger, and one involved someone who had no friend or relative with type O blood who was willing and able to donate, receiving a type O kidney from a stranger. Okay, so that's the story with blood types. It's pretty much the first information everyone will want to hear from you if you're thinking of donating a kidney. Hopefully now you see why it is important to understand the differences. There are other blood factors within each group, which I don't understand so much, and you will be tested for them to see how compatible you are with your recipient. But they're only an indication of which of several different people with the same blood type would have the greatest chance of working most perfectly. I think there are 6 factors, and even if none of the 6 factors matches, it's not a big problem. Or even between siblings, the matches rarely get higher than 4 out of the 6. So now we're going to move on to some of the risks that you need to consider before you look further into possibly volunteering to be a live kidney donor. Depending on each individual hospital's protocols, there are dozens of reasons for which a hospital may decide that you are not suitable to donate. The donors I have worked with have all suffered some level of grief when this has happened, even though you might think it's only the recipient who should be disappointed over such news. I think this happens because the potential donor had really been looking forward to helping someone, and then, because of such an innocent thing as the fact that they snore, the hospital hierarchy says, nope, we're not going to take that risk, and the operation is called off. There may be nothing wrong with you at all, as in the snoring illustration, but it may be seen by the hospital as a hint that you could develop some other health problem, which would be better dealt with if you had 2 kidneys. If it happens, just remember that the hospital is not only concerned about the patient with kidney disease, your health is important too. And even if you are approved, there will be other health risks that you need to consider, and we'll move on to those now. I had mentioned that the risks when donating a kidney are on a par with that of having a baby. To tell the truth, I have so far never heard of a person donating to a stranger who actually died as a result of donating. But that must be the absolute greatest risk, and it certainly is worth considering before venturing out. Things do occasionally go wrong, even in some of the safest operations. Are you prepared to take that risk, no matter how small it is? On the other end of the spectrum, infections of various sorts are a fairly common risk, especially during the period when the incision is beginning to heal. Thanks to antibiotics, and thanks to something called keyhole surgery, the incidences of infection have been lowered considerably, and most infections that do occur can be dealt with even before you leave the hospital. Nevertheless, some of the most dangerous infections in the world can be picked up in hospitals, and so that risk also needs to be considered. Now, somewhere in between the 2 extremes, death and minor infections, is the risk that the operation will not be successful for the recipient. The recipient's body may simply reject the transplant. Be prepared that after the operation is over, others will almost forget you recovering in the room down the hall because all their eyes will be on the recipient. And they will stay there for several weeks as the hospital monitors how well the recipient's body is accepting this new organ. In some cases, you may be home and back at work before the recipient even leaves the hospital. And it can be quite depressing if you later learn that the kidney was rejected by the recipient's body. So do consider that possibility before you start down the path toward donating. Finally, I'll just mention the inconvenience that you will face in trying to donate. If it was just a matter of sticking up your hand, walking into a room and handing over your kidney, then walking out, I think it would be many times easier to get people to donate a kidney while they're still alive. And it's not all related to safety guarantees. Some of the tests can drag out and require several visits to hospitals, pathology labs, and general practitioners. I personally feel that many hospitals deliberately drag them out for anonymous donors just to sort out how determined you really are to help someone. Then there's the time off work for the operation itself and the time it takes to recover. If you don't have sick leave coming to you, or if you're needed 24/7 by other people, it may be unrealistic to think that you could go through with such a donation. Even if you do decide to go ahead and donate, don't put your life on hold while you're going through those tests. My experience is that the hospitals rarely make you their top priority, so just hunker down and prepare for the long run, so you don't get too disappointed if things go a little bit longer than you thought they would. I must, however, give special mention to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. It's unbelievable just how quickly they can put a donor through the whole battery of tests in just a couple of days, including interviews with a social worker or a psychologist. They are definitely recommended for someone who wants to have as little time away from work and from family as possible. Well, that's enough to get you started. Please watch the other videos in this series for more helpful information.